Spent more than 26 years behind bars for a murder he says he never committed. And this week, Smith was set free after the Wayne County Prosecutor's Conviction Integrity Unit recommended his release, not just because of weak evidence, but unreliable jailhouse snitch testimony. We spoke to Wolf Mueller, who's represented other men who've been let go based on bad testimony from incarcerated informants.
When I saw his daughter just break down in his arms, it's heart-wrenching. And to think that he's been gone for 26 years and basically her entire life, and the damage that does to the family relationship and the damage it does to society. Because remember, for every wrongful conviction, and these are murder convictions, there is a killer still out on the street doing harm to our society. Everything breaks down. Everyone loses when you have a wrongful conviction.
Detroit police have changed their policy with regard to how they deal with paid informants, which is kind of in that same realm where there's an informant or a witness who obviously has something to gain. Do we need to really look at completely overhauling how much detectives rely on other types of testimony from people who might have other motives?
The point that needs to be made is anything that involves paying a witness, an informant, or putting a person in the jail to act as the police agent, that has to be disclosed to the defense, because the jury needs to hear everything so they can weigh the credibility of the snitch. Sometimes people do confess in prison and in jail. But when you have things that are hidden from the defense, it doesn't make for a fair trial and it violates the Constitution.
The Innocence Project reports that jailhouse informant testimony is often a major factor in wrongful convictions nationally, playing a role in nearly 1 in 5 of the DNA-based exoneration cases that are out there. It seems like the time is now to kind of have a deep think about this as a society, about how critical perhaps this testimony or type of testimony is.
As a juror, you hear somebody confess to the crime. That's as important of evidence as you're going to get in a trial. So when that's manufactured, now you've really doctored and skewed the results. You don't have a fair trial. We need to take a look at that, because it's not coincidence that in the last year, so many people just in Wayne County out of the DPD jailhouse snitch program are being freed.
Do you expect there will be a number of additional people who will either be exonerated or have their convictions overturned as a result of the jailhouse snitch program? What's next?
I think that you will see in the next year or two several more in that same time frame. A lot of these happened right in the 1994, 1995 time frame. And I will say one thing. Prosecutor Worthy is not going to release somebody she thinks is guilty. It's, as they said about Larry Smith, a fundamentally flawed trial.
The fine line is where we're living in debating this or discussing this. And how do you ensure the integrity of that witness testimony when it is used? Because it undoubtedly has to be used sometimes, and it obviously is reliable at certain times.
It starts with the police officers. They have to disclose that. Not every jailhouse witness is paid for or dirty, we'll say. Sometimes people do say things in jail, but you have to know what's gone on beforehand. You need to know that, because then that goes to his credibility. It goes to the believability of the witness. As long as you put all the cards on the table and you have a fair trial, then a jury can make the right decision.